On our way into the barn this morning, I took all the kiddos with me. I'm going to do a little stall cleaning today. Help Mom out. Long day projected for today. Not as long as it could be. I don't have anything in to go tonight at Northfield Park, but we do have 2 this afternoon at the Meadows, and I'm going to head over and drive. We have Timus on my side, and HP Liz Shadow is going to make his start at the Meadows today. Now, HP Liz Shadow had not done his best work on a half before he came to Ohio. Did well his first couple of starts at Northfield, and then once he got up into a little tougher crew and drew the outside, I might add, it became a little more difficult for him. So we were going to try him over in a 5/8. So initially, we were going to go to Miami Valley with him, but entering him and him alone just made little sense. So we shipped him over the Meadows for now. We're just trying to get Scott situated down in southern Ohio where he'd be comfortable. I believe Lebanon is where he'll be going, which is about 10 minutes from Miami Valley, which will suit us very, very well. So that's where we're at with in regards to sending the horses south. We still do and plan to send 5 or 6 horses down with Scott to Miami Valley, but that isn't today. So for today, HB Liz Shadow is over at the Meadows. Now, yesterday we had some schoolers, some qualifiers in Ontario. I want to make sure I get caught up on them best I could. We had some trainers. The track was terrible yesterday. It was covered in snow and ice in Northfield. I'm hopeful that they got a lot of that off today. It is 33. I didn't realize it was getting this warm today. It is 33 degrees right now as we get closer to Northfield Park and get ready to train 6 sets of babies. We are missing some babies today in the training over here as they are headed over to Dr. Brown's to have OCDs removed. 5 of them left yesterday. The remaining 3 will leave on Sunday. Those will constitute the last 8 horses we have any issues with and anything that needs any correction with Dr. Brown in regards to yearlings. Now, as I said, the babies will be going today. Probably around, we're not going to video them today, although I have my glasses. I don't know how long they'll work. Last time I got about 3 sets into them and they said the battery was low. So I'll be constantly charging the case and the glasses in, and hopefully I can figure out a way to get through the whole day with one pair of glasses. We have some 3-year-olds we trained yesterday, as I said. They weren't great training miles because it was tough to train through there. When you train a horse that is racing into 7, it's really tough to get excited about it. So they got trained. They will be tight for next week. The last 3 that are racing on Wednesday are training today. I'm going to train Allure a little harder as she missed a week, and then you have Tally the Tab and Memento Mori coming in a little, kind of a bit of a full head of steam. Yes? Oh, because they canceled when we landed the plane the other day? They did. I was going to the races to race, and they canceled them. So exactly what I was worried would happen happened. I don't see Chicago Holland to go, but I do see I do see Memento Mori was in to go. Allure was in with Tally the Tab, which I'm not a big fan of. Had they called and asked, I simply would have raced Allure over in the Meadows this week rather than have our horses in together. But as I said to Jason, those are things we have to make sure the race office understands. I wasn't very pleased with having Trosa handicap with the 8-hole this week. That also won't happen again. If you're going to give my horses, I'm not asking for the 8-hole in any situation. Not at Northfield Park. Now, if you're asking for a handicap on a 5/8 with a staggered gate like the Meadows, okay, we can talk about that if the horse needs to be handicapped. But I'm not going to have my handicap myself. The truest of true handicaps would be the 8-hole on a half-mile track. And Trosa, I'm sorry, just doesn't. When you're coming in at 25-1 morning line, handicap with the 8-hole, it says a lot about the handicap. And I just have no interest in racing horses like that. So hopefully we can get him in the class he belongs next week, in the spot he belongs, rather than racing over his head or handicapped. I would like the horse to be in where he belongs. Now that's easier said than done, because sometimes the classes don't fill, but there will be a little notation. If the class isn't going to fill, leave him out. I'll take him to the Meadows, or he'll go to Miami Valley, but we're not going to race the horse with the 8-hole, given the 8-hole. I'll draw the 8-hole, but I won't be asking for it, or racing above his head. He's just not the type of horse I want to do that with, and not what we're going to do with Trosa. So yesterday's schoolers, we had schooling was Leland Hanover, the Love Filly, the Walnut Filly, Love Sensation, and Go Boom schooled. Now, my biggest question mark was Go Boom. How do you go? James was in there and went with Love Sensation. Brady Galliers, I think, from what James said, won the set with Go Boom. But he said, I don't know. He's rocky in the last turn. The rocky in the last turn stuff, I think we can fix this. We need a bit of a more of a long-term block in his feet. So we may have to, we'll see how it plays out. I told James to race him once at Mohawk. James and Dom and I spoke about all the horses yesterday. I said, race the horse once at Mohawk. If you're unhappy with the way he looks, if he's still rocky and rough in the last turn and you don't believe he's going to be able to, he's not going to be effective like that, fine. We'll make some decisions. And listen, I get it. I've been in the spot of many of our clients. We buy a lot of horses. Not all of them are going to be, great stories right off the bat. Some of them won't be at all. I think Go Boom is a good horse, but there may be some things we have to work on, and it's going to take a little bit of time with that. I know there's a number of our clients out there, a number of my partners on Go Boom that don't really want to hear that, but it's not like we didn't buy this horse off a farmer in a state where they don't race a lot. We bought the horse off a very good place. This is why I tell everybody, I get emails all the time from people, what about this horse? What about that horse on Gator Preferred? And I'll tell them, quite frankly, I don't like to shop there sometimes. And the Melanders, we bought horses off them before. Listen, they're just sharp horse people. So we have to put our thinking caps on and make sure that we have the horse as good as we can have him so he can advance forward. This horse is very, very well bred, a very expensive yearling, and has shown miles in 51, 52, 53. I talked to Scott briefly yesterday, and he had asked me my thoughts on Go Boom, and I said, I wish I had more to report at this juncture. I said, but I think there's some places that we can still help Go Boom. We just have to get to helping Go Boom. And he said he raced really well barefoot when he raced him, and he asked why I thought that was, and I know exactly why that is. He touches up in his high jacks, especially that left jack area, and when you take the shoes off a horse, they don't do that as well. Lexington is an extremely forgiving racetrack, and I can see why he would, why a horse like him would be drawn to that type of scenario. Having said that, I think there's more under the hood. Again, less stones to overturn when it comes to turn over when it comes to trainers like Marcus and Matthias Melander, but at the same time, I think we can help Go Boom. It may just take a little bit of time. So he schooled, won the schooler. Love Sensation, James said he was very happy with. Now, it frustrates me to no end how long it takes sometimes to get the horses to the track. And James said, well, she went a mile and 2-3 yesterday. She was good. I'd like to school her once more, then we'll qualify her. And I said, well, James, you're going to school her once more, then you're going to qualify her twice, then you're going to race her easy. And that's wasted 4 starts, 4 training miles. So, I'm going to have to, if you want to do it, that's fine. I guess there's always that voice in my head saying, you know what, you can only win the maiden once. You can only win the non-winners 2 once after that. I guess you can fit by money. But there is a progression there. So I'll allow it, even though I'll kind of bite my tongue as it happens. I'll allow it, and Love Sensation will school again next week. The good news is that she is trotting good, and James said he was very, very happy with her. And that's kind of a big deal for me, because James doesn't really get that high on too many horses. And to hear him say that he was very happy with Love Sensation makes me really happy also, because this is a filly that we kind of had high hopes for. A lot of the 2-year-olds, you guys forget because you have short memories sometimes in this game that moves so fast, the same as I do. And we have horses that we bought and we had super high expectations for, and they kind of just fizzled out. Addie Bear, turn that down. To 0. And they kind of fizzle out, right? You get to watch them train down, you're like, Love Sensation's good, but, is she going to be a sire stake filly? Is she going to be a stake filly at all? What's she going to be? Then, her first start, she hits herself, makes a break. And I said, this is a big, growthy filly. Why don't we just give her some time? So we gave her some time, brought her back, and to have her come back and look the way she did. Now, as it was pointed out to me yesterday, I had a great email from one of our clients saying, Anthony, you spoke very highly of how Pretty Eyes and Lies had trained down. You're really excited about her, really happy about her. Then you qualify her. She was acting up. She qualified good her second start with hobbles on. Then you race her, and you know, she makes 2 breaks in a row, and now you want to almost get rid of her. He said, I'm trying to understand the progression of the steps there, and this is a great question. You know, a lot of the time our clients will talk about the brutal honesty I have when it comes to horses. Sometimes some people like that and some people don't. I'm an optimistic person, but when push comes to shove and something has to be said or done, it gets said or done. And when it comes to a horse like Pretty Eyes and Lies or Love Sensation or any number of our sophomores that are coming back, they have to turn that corner, right? They have to want to do it, and they have to do it. And we'll give them time if they're trying to get it right, that's fine. But when you come out on the track, like Pretty Eyes and Lies did the other day, and wait for the very second that I ask you to speed up and just roll off stride, that says to me you don't want to do your work. Now, we did get her blood work back today. Mild tie up. What I would say is mild, but some horses take it a little more than others. You know, she was probably stressed out, tied up a little bit, made a break. All right. Let's see how you qualify on Wednesday. She will be here. She will be qualifying Wednesday at Northfield Park. Let's see how she does. And then we'll decide what's up with Pretty Eyes and Lies. But, you know, to that particular client and to all our other clients that may have the same questions, you know, here's my take. Right now, you have to come out of the gate and you have to at least show that you're advancing, you're progressing, you're moving in the right direction. Because if you start to regress right now in January, without any sort of reason, and we'll call mild tie-up a reason for today. I'm not sold on it just yet, but we'll call it that for today. But when I see you regressing, and then I see a little bit of a bad attitude, I have to step back and look at the entire picture. Why is that attitude there? Why are we seeing regression? Can it be fixed? And if it can be fixed, do we see enough to think that this horse is going to turn the corner, be a good overnight horse right now, which might turn into an okay to good overnight horse for the remainder of 2026? Because quite frankly, you're going to win a couple of races if we keep you around. The non-winners of 3 in March through the rest of the year is stiff enough. You have to be a decent overnight horse to get that job done. And I think I'm quite at it. Ava, will you just tell Mom we're right here? Mm-hmm. Text Mom and tell her we're right here. That was her right there. Be there in 2 minutes. You know, without that, if I can't say that this horse can do in the overnights right now, how could that horse possibly progress to a place that would be able to do in the overnights all year long? Here. Again, there's other smaller venues that these horses can go to and be very effective horses, but I'm not sending a horse somewhere to be a non-winners a 1 or 2 horse in another jurisdiction because it's not quite good enough to do here or the Meadows. We'll probably just sell the horse. And that's really the position we're at with a number of these horses are approaching that, right? We have 2 or 3 or 4 of them right now in Northfield. And the first one was Pretty Eyes. And if we go to qualify her on Wednesday and she feels the same way she did the other day, you're more than likely going to see her on preferred the few days afterwards. So that's where I wanted to, just a little side note for everybody. I know this time of year you can hear me 1 week talk about how impressed I was, and I was. Here's Pretty Eyes and Lies that trained down with no boots on except for trotting boots behind. No pulls, you know, run us down a couple of times in 2.5. But as we got closer to 2 minutes and 2.1, cracks started to form, right? Running a little bit, touch yourself, make a break. Get a little hot at the gate, make a break coming off the car. These are things I don't want to see, and they don't need to be present. So I'm going to try and help, but at the same time, it goes back to what I initially said, not just to you here, but also our client yesterday, my partner yesterday. They have to want to turn that corner, and then they have to turn that corner. Show me that you're going to be an effective sophomore, either in the overnights or the stake races. That's what we're looking for right now this time of year. And the timing of it is important also, right? First stake payments are due February 15th. The last thing we want to do is be paying stakes on a horse that we truly don't think maybe is a stake horse potential. Let somebody else pay the horse into the Stallion Series. Race her in the overnights and try the Stallion Series. 100%, nothing wrong with that. But that's what we're looking for right now this time of year. So, Love Sensation. Schooled good yesterday. James was happy with her. Leland Hanover schooled yesterday. I think Brady Galliers went with him actually. James said he didn't know which horse he went with right away. And then I said, I'm pretty sure it would probably be the brother to better swish, right? And he goes, he did say that this was a brother to better swish. I said, well, we only have one of those. So it was definitely Leland Hanover, and then Go Boom was the other one that schooled. So a decent day schooling. Qualifying, I can tell you that James was thoroughly pleased with Royal Flushdale. My only concern with Royal Flushdale is they did scope him after a little bit of redness, little bit of pimples, a little bit of mucus, and a drop of blood at the bottom. I'm not too concerned about it right now. Clean up the aforementioned 3 issues at the top, and hopefully the bottom will take care of itself. And I believe that's kind of where we're at with respect to Royal Flushdale. But James raved about him. He has since he started training this horse down. He said, Anthony, he feels like a nice horse. I said, okay, perfect. So Royal Flushdale will be in to go next week. And in New York, probably going to start him at a smaller venue. And here's my take on it. If he's not going to be a Mohawk horse, that's fine. But he's not going to stay in Ontario very long. I'm not going to race at Flamborough for 6,000 or 7,000 Canadian when I can race at Northfield Park for 9,400. And it looks like he's going to zip around a half pretty good. Yes, honey?
He said 6, 7.
Okay, stop or I'll throw you to the car. Let's move it.
We just walk there because we're almost there.
Yeah, we're almost due. So in New York, I think in New York will be a handy enough horse for us. I like the way he trained when I went with him, but if they don't think he's a Mohawk horse yet, fine. If he's not going to be a Mohawk horse, he's not going to stay in Ontario very long. There's just too many opportunities for him over here. But it looks like he's going to be the useful type. He got a little rough coming off the car yesterday, spotted himself a number of lengths, tried to last half 59 last quarter in 30 seconds, a mile and 2.3. Now, I haven't talked to Brady Galliers myself. I'm just getting it third person from James. But they were happy with the qualifiers. They were happy with the schoolers, which makes me happy overall. So as we get to Northfield Park right now, absolutely. Turn that off, please. Oh. Card for today. So for those of you coming to Northfield, you'll be asked the same thing. We try to get everybody in. There you go, ma'am. Thank you. We try to get everybody in as we can, but keep in mind if you are coming to Northfield Park, they're going to ask you for that card, or we'll have to sign you in. So it's just if you have a yellow ownership card for Northfield, owner, trainer, driver, groom, license, you can get in no problem. Otherwise, we'll have to sign you in. Now, as we get to Northfield Park, I'm going to train all the babies today. We're training Allure also in the race bike. We just trained Memento Mori and Tally the Tab, a stiff 1.5 miles, which should be fine for both of them. It looks like the weather's going to be good. It's 33 degrees. As long as the sun stays away, I think it'll be a good day for training here at Northfield. Right after we're done here, I'm going to get everybody pizza, and then I am on my way over to the Meadows to race there all afternoon. So a bit of a long update, but I wanted to update everybody where we're at with some of the horses in Ontario, where we're at with some of the horses in Ohio, what went on yesterday, what is going on today, and how we think everything is going. So with that, I'll let you go. Take care. We'll talk to you all very soon. Have a great Saturday and an entire weekend. Take care, everybody.